I told you fools to go for his heart. Well, it's mine now. Wait, where's he going? Did he just... Are we just gonna let him do that? Yeah. Why? I mean, do you want to go fight him? Okay. Thank you to our $5 patrons, Sis Lancelot, Art Goon, and Praise the Sun. A big thank you to our $25 patron, the Mr. Greed. Now, before we hop into this breakdown / review of Black Clover, chapter 330. Golly, we getting girthy, if you will. Please, if you're going to leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below, leave a like and subscribe if you aren't already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you support me for as low as $1 a month. Any support would be appreciated. Now, let's get into last week's poll. So, last week I ended up asking y'all a very pertinent question, if you will. What y'all thought about Lucci's death, right? Because, like I said in the post, I was like, well, Lucci's dead, supposedly, mostly, maybe, probably. Simple. And I want to give y'all the 50-50. Do you think it was good or bad? And then with a 78% vote, we went with bad. And, not gonna lie, that was my easy option too. Like, I definitely see the justification, and y'all made good arguments for the good in the English in the comment section of that post, and I really appreciate that. However, I just can't get over it. I'll straight up admit. I know Lucci technically wasn't an endgame villain. I know this was not a war arc. I know this was a rescue arc. I know Lucci was not at full power. I know the arc was dragging. I know all that. But the main issue I had with it is that it felt so anticlimactic. Like, just, I don't know, and I feel like now you can't bring him back into the narrative. I know there's that whole plot point that the other 50% is still set up there. I'm not sure what this chapter means for that. So many things. However, that's the results of last week's poll. Make sure you hit up tomorrow's poll, dropping at 12 p.m. in order to get your input on the community tab. Essentially, with 138 votes, I love to do this. I love to get these little glimpses into what the community is thinking. I love starting these discussions, and they're just really, really fun to do. So make sure you hit the next one, dropping tomorrow at 12 p.m. Now, let's get into Chapter 330. What's up, guys? I've got the pencil here, and here we are to break down Chapter 330 of Black Clover, which is known as Declaration to Darkness. This is a very interesting chapter title. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. Like, am I the only one who doesn't get the correlation? Like, are the Black Bulls supposed to be darkness in this case? Like, I really don't know. However, regardless of that, we open up and we get to see that Melly, after clapping up from the end of last chapter, he comes across Asta and Lucci, not Asta and Lucci, Asta and Lieb collapsing, and he sort of just lands and looks over them. And notably, he has this very interesting reaction when he looks at Asta, right? Like, we always see Melly with, like, the sort of, like, mini bags under his eyes. Like, Tabata always does the, like, little extra line work under his eyes to show that he constantly looks tired. But now he has also extra, like, vertical line work around his face when he's looking at Asta. I'm not exactly sure if that's supposed to mean anything other than, geez, this kid is actively concerning. Like, however, I do think this implies something. I think it does imply that there's a reason Melly is not attacking here, because considering what this kid did to Lucci, even if at 50%, while he's extremely weakened and on the ground, the most optimal play, if you were either acting over your own volition or just had common sense, would be to stab him through the chest and call it a night. Like, legitimately, the fact that Melly pulls up, stands over their bodies, and is like, whatever, and proceeds to reach down, like, and notably, I don't think it works as well. Maybe if Tabata had included that, like, thrust looking panel on the previous page, where we get to see, actually, who knows? Now that I think about it, based off what we see in this chapter, but then again, Tabata does a whole focus panel on Asta's face, so I'm not sure. But the thrusting panel goes down, and we see that Melly actually just takes out Lucci's heart. I mentioned that a little bit ago. Like, it was just strange that Asta never actually sliced Lucci's heart. However, that doesn't seem to matter, because Lucci's entire body essentially crumbles the moment Melly rips it out. Like, Melly straight tears the heart out, and notably the heart doesn't disappear, but the body does. So this manifestation of Lucci vanishes. And admittedly, I think if there was any time to admit that Melly had set this all up as a test for the humans to prepare for the real Lucci, this would have been the time to admit it, even mentally. However, it just seems like this was the real manifestation of Lucci, just at 50% power, and he's now gone. And like I said, it just doesn't do good for the narrative. At least not in my part. Like, you can never, at this point, you can never bring Lucci back and expect me to expect any tension. Like, at least not with that villain. I don't know. And Melly straight up admits, like, this is what he wanted, and then he just flies off. And, like, notably, I know that I've heard multiple things. Like, I think Melly in Legend works under Bucky Boy. I know that's a weird correlation, but the Lord of the Flies, essentially, you know who I'm speaking of. But apparently he works under him, and maybe this was just like the thing where maybe this is part of Xenon's deal. Like, I know this is going way, way back, considering Xenon died forever ago, but Xenon's deal was like, hey, I'll give you my soul as long as you can keep the Spade Kingdom safe. So maybe Melly was just watching in anticipation, and then if Lucci had truly started going on a like real rampage after he was tired, Melly would have stepped in. Because notably, he just takes the heart and leaves. Like, he doesn't do anything to harm any of the people there. He doesn't attack anyone. He just flies off. Who knows what he's going to do? Who knows what the heart means? Like, I've heard people theorizing that that's still part of his dream magic, but I don't know. At this point, I've lost all faith and hope. So, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like, once again, I'd have to say, like, I still love the Spade Kingdom arc. There's too many, like, good moments, good character introductions, good characters that are littered all throughout this arc. And interesting magics, interesting interactions. I love multiple fights in this arc. But, like, it feels like Tabata didn't know how to end it. Like, I know, like, technically it was a rescue arc and a setup arc. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be so major. But, like, on the same front, this was essentially a war with the Spade Kingdom. Like, that or the existing Spade Kingdom. It felt like it was supposed to have more gravitas and weight to it. But looking at it here and now, like, Melly just flies off. There's no more conflict, and that's kind of it. It just feels weird, right? I'm not saying it's bad. Like, I've seen the slander in massive amount. It is everywhere. Disney Clover. And some of the edits, I will admit, are very, very creative. We get to see them, like, literally edit the Black Clover poster into Disney Plus. Very, very good. I love that. But, like, personally, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, right? Because it feels like an arc of this quality, or at least that started off with like insane quality. Like, I'm not sure what the official start of the arc is, but I consider the official start of the arc when Dante shows up at the Black Bull's hideout and fights Yami and Asta and nearly dies. Like, that's where I consider the start of the arc, to open up with Peak, to have the Peak introduction of Xenon, and to have all this build up, all this amazing stuff, and to have it like what feels like it's falling flat. Like, and this is where I definitely pull y'all Black Clover fans out here. Please, like, what are your thoughts on this arc? Like, I really want to hear it in the comments. I'm going to do a whole arc review myself sooner or later, so we can have an even more in-depth discussion there. But just in terms of looking over this arc as it is, I'm like, I don't know. I feel very, very, it's weirdly indifferent. Like, it's not necessarily bad because I get the point of this arc, especially in retrospect. But at the same time, it's like, However, enough of like talking about the arc and like its quality and how I feel about the ending. We get to cut over to Yuno, and we see that he's scanning the entire battlefield, and he notices that Asta, everyone, essentially all the captains, Asta, everyone's down. Everyone's in a worse position that they could ever be. However, the people in the worst position obviously are Yami and Nacht, who still have Lucci's arm. Well, actually, no. Notably, I guess since the heart was taken out, Lucci's arms finally actually dissolved. So they don't have Lucci's arms in them anymore. But of course, they have two massive gaping holes in their chests that are bleeding out. And Yuno notes this and is like, well, can't really let them perish like that. And he proceeds to teleport people over, and notably Mimosa comes over. And we see that Yuno is expecting her to like do, obviously heal them, but she says, oh no, that magic power, I don't have enough to. And we see that everyone is crowding around the two because, or at least everyone who can move is crowding around the two, like, what's going on here? This looks awful. And Gray reveals that she doesn't have any magic power left, and obviously she's the only real other healer there outside of Mimosa. So they're sort of just watching the two captains die. And like the longer and longer Lick and William are left in the story, the less and less I want them to be there. Like this isn't like, I don't know, I've been listening to a lot of Sasuke clips for a video I'm making, but like the uselessness of these characters, it just feels ever present and pointless. Like why are they here? Why keep them around? Like I actually, like, now looking at it in hindsight, I don't get why Lick is even still a character. I get why, because he brought Noelle to the Dryad Forest thing. But then again, you could have just had the other elves do that. Like, you didn't need Lick, essentially. This is Lick? Patry. I'm sorry, I've been saying Lick, but Patry. I'm so used to calling him Lick. But you don't need Patry around the narrative anymore, because apparently he's useless with his Grimoire, and without his Grimoire in combat, and obviously he can't do anything here. He's just here for nothing. And same thing with William. Like, William is here to give a wooden sword that is probably not even going to be used after this arc. That's the only thing he's done. And I don't know, like, just kill him off. Like, I don't, is that a bad thing? Is it bad for me to be like, you know, you could just sacrifice those two? Like, I would, personally, you wouldn't hear a complaint from me. You simply would not. Unfortunately, it is simply not me. I'm simply not the guy that would complain if one of those two or both of them were to die. However, regardless of that, we get to... Like, this chapter is full of I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed moments. Like, legitimately, we see Charlotte come over. And is it Charlotte or Charlotte? I don't even know where I heard the pronunciation of Charlotte, but it's going to be, I'll be switching back and forth, I bet. However, we get to see that the like button is free, by the way, and so is the subscribe button. Please hit those buttons. It would greatly help out. It would greatly help out the channel, and overall, it would be wonderful. They're free. They are free. You can just take your time, X out full size of the video if you're watching that. Click the like button. It can seriously help out the channel, and I love every single like I get. Also, comment down below. I greatly appreciate that. However, we get to see that Charlotte walks up and is like, Yami, I came all this way to save you. What's the matter with you? Get up. Where'd your usual insolence go? Don't die, you idiot. I love you. And, like, and you may say, Pencil, you're just hardened by cold, disgusting, thick anime tropes. Of course you knew this wasn't going to last. But at the same time, like, even raw react to reading it, like, notably, I managed to bob and weave most of the spoilers. The only spoiler I got for the chapter was the ending that everyone lived. That's what that, and admittedly, I know it's a pretty big spoiler, but still, in terms of like any in-chapter stuff, I didn't know it was going to happen. But even the first time reading this, I'm like, he's not going to remember it. Like, since I knew everyone lived, I'm like, okay, Yami's going to get back up, and this relationship is not going to progress anywhere, just like the Noelle and Asta relationship is not going to progress anywhere. That was legitimately my thought process, and we get to see it. We have this whole dramatic moment, right? And the only funny thing to come out of this is Vanessa's shocked face when she hears Charlotte say that, like, wait, what? You're in love with my husbando? That's illegal. But of course, we get to see that she loudly declares that she loves him. Yami, don't die. And Yami's like dying, of course. But then we get to see, I mean, I'm not even sure what Rouge does here. Like, the fact that Rouge is still around, impressive considering how much magic he's supposed to take up. But he de-strings himself and then fires off into rubble, I guess. And then from said rubble, I'm really confused. I'm not going to lie. I think maybe they were just trapped underneath the rubble, and then Rouge kind of like maneuvered fate around. But I thought Rouge was just supposed to stop people from dying. Like, I didn't know this was, I don't know. This whole chapter just feels weird. I'm not gonna lie, it just feels weird. But of course, I guess this like restores them or wakes them up or whatever, and we get to see that Finral's portal opens up. He pops out. Everyone's here with the help of Charmy, and they all have their magic restored. And they force Mimosa to, you know, just gobble down everything. And they force her to eat. She eats. Her magic replenish, and then she does ultimate plant magic. Flower Princess Utopia. Nacht and Yami saved. I'm sorry, I don't know why I dropped the remix on you. But, like, I know the whole point of the arc was to rescue Yami and William, but mainly Yami. So it would be kind of, would it be anticlimactic? I'll get into my complaints with this in a second, but I'll cover some of it right now. Mimosa needs to be removed from the narrative. Like, I hate to say it, I don't want to remove characters from the narrative, but when they are this plot, like, Mimosa has brought characters back from the brink of death twice off the top of my dome, but I think it's more in this arc alone. Like, remember when what's-his-face was supposed to die, Gaja? Because he literally used up every last drop of his magic and literally burned himself to the core? But no, he's revived and alive, because why not? Do you remember? Just happened right now. Nacht and Yami had, like, here's the thing. At least if Nacht died, I would have been fine with that. Yami, you kind of have the excuse that he has a new type of heart. His very biology is different, so maybe he's more durable. I may have been able to let that slide, but they're just both alive. Because, Charmy plus Mimosa is more of a plot device than literally Rouge. And Rouge is the definition of plot device. Like, Rouge is literally a magic spell that prevents bad things from happening. Yet somehow the Mimosa, not even the Mimosa Charmy combo, Mimosa in general is just broken. Like, I don't, unhealthy for the narrative, right? I guess that's the point. I'll say it. That's the way I'll say it. It's unhealthy for the narrative to have characters like that in there, because like whatever tension you have is kind of killed, especially in a moment like this, something as intense as this. Ugh. But of course, we get to see that everyone's happy to see him alive, right? Like, Yami even admits that he really thought he was just gone for good this time, and Nacht is like, oh, well, I'm glad I didn't die, because I almost would have gone and died of this man. And notably, we get to see that. And I do love their little interaction here. Once again, the Nacht and Yami relationship, the brothers from other mothers relationship, is very, very cool. I like that. I appreciate that. They're both kindred spirits, even if they both despise each other. But a good pair of brothers, they will bicker. It's always how that happens. And there's like this funny little detail in the pet. Like, I love that Charmy still has all her eyes and attention on Yuno, even though it's very weird that I think about it. But of course, we get to see that none of this was, I mean, who knows, maybe it can be picked up. Maybe Charlotte will confess in the next chapter or something like that. Maybe Yami will remember what she said. But no, Yami goes like, oh, Charlotte, I'm still alive thanks to you. Wah ha 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 ha. By the way, what were you saying earlier? AKA he didn't hear the confession. AKA it didn't happen. I don't, like, strain. Like in Tabata's mind, right? Like, and this comes from a me standpoint. Like, notably, I try to get into mangaka's heads whenever I break down whatever weird decisions that they make. Or essentially, if I view a decision as weird or suboptimal, I will first look at it from the character perspective, and then if the character perspective doesn't make sense, I will look from the author perspective to why something is weird. And I look at this and I'm like, this has been a long running plot thread that's basically like, it doesn't break anything if you let it happen. Like, it's kind of like everything else that's been happening. Like, I think some of this breaks the plot, but notably, like, Vanessa, not even Vanessa, Charlotte getting her confession out and having Yami hear it. What's wrong with it? Like, I get it. Is this just supposed to be a running gag at this point? I mean, I guess it is. It is running gag, but it just, like, it's a running gag that isn't funny. Like, who appreciated this? Was anyone like down for this, or I must be just too jaded? Like, I must have just consumed too much fiction and media, and I must just be sick and tired of reading it, because it's like, I don't know, it feels pointless at this point. And then, yep, she passes out, and we just move on from there. And Asta's back to full power, and we get to see that he's happy that both of his captains are alive, which is great. You know, I'm cool, whatever. And then we get to see that Yami is like, well, I hate to say it, buddy, but I will smack the taste out your mouth for ruining my katana. And that is kind of funny, because we see that Asta has, like, no response. He's kind of just scared now that Yami has picked him up. But notably, Yami's like, forget it. You can have the thing. I have a new wooden sword now. And don't worry, the next arc will be about foreign lands anyway, so I'll just take you back to my foreign land, get a new katana, and then we'll have a whole new arc to begin from there. And Asta's happy to get it. We see that Nacht is welcome back into the group, right? We have the whole lineup of the Black Bulls, and they're happy to have him back. And notably, we see that Nacht once again reiterates that he hates people like them because they don't do things the right way. But he notes that he's a person who doesn't do the right way, so he's happy to live on with you so they can do things the right way. Well, no, I'll live on with you so we can do things the right way together. So, that's nice. It's fine. It's cute. It's cute. Nah, but this is mad Disney Clover type. Okay, no. Here's the thing, right? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Like, the thing... Now, notably, an alternate intro was going to be the One Piece clip of Zoro doing the what happened thing. And it was going to be me running up as Sanji asking Zoro what happened. And Zoro, in this case, would be Tabata. And he would say nothing. Nothing happened. Because let's be real. Nothing. Well, no, I'm kidding. The thing is, like, essentially, what happened was a training arc. Like, and I know that sounds weird, right? But that's all this was. Characters got stronger, and nothing was lost. There's only positives to come after this. Like, Lucci's dead. And even if the other 50% of him lies in the underworld, it's not going to get any stronger. So you have to worry about the other ones like Buggy Boy and like the Time one, but that's kind of done for now. We don't have anything. And I'm not. Here's the thing, right? The biggest reason why it's being called. Oh my! I'm sorry. This water is jacking me up. But the biggest reason why it's being called Disney Clover right now is because no one perished. And here's the difference, right? I wouldn't be annoyed that no one perished if it wasn't. Because I like, as was clearly explained to me before, this isn't a war arc. Technically, this is a rescue arc that sort of got turned into a war arc that sort of really wasn't a war arc. It's complicated, so I'll let that one slide. But it just feels like there's so many times where if a character had died or if characters had died, it would have been fine. But for some reason, it was just removed. Like we had to keep them alive no matter what for some reason, even though it probably would have been fine. Like, I'm not sure how many Gaja stands there were out there, but if he had died, who would have been mad? Would anyone have really cared? Like, I don't know. I kind of get keeping Yami and Nacht around, even though, like, no offense to Yami and Nacht, but I think Asta kind of bolos them now. Like, their point as senseis is kind of done, but no, I guess not. I guess they're still here. And does anyone, like, the captains, Asta, Yami, not like everyone got to participate in the finale except for Noelle. Does anyone else feel like, heck, even Nero and Zora got to participate in the finale and in the final battle? Like, is anyone kind of shocked Noelle didn't? Was that just me? I don't know. Maybe I'm strange, but it feels weird that Noelle didn't get a spot to participate in, especially considering she could have easily just gotten her magic restored by Charmy and just popped out the clutch and been like, all right, let's fight. I don't know. It feels. I guess I should tackle it bit by bit, right? The death thing. Not necessary for death, but the main issue that I have with the death thing is that you set up all of these high stakes only to flush them down the toilet very soon after. Oh no, Yami and Nacht are going to die. Just kidding, Mimosa. Oh no, Gaj is going to die. Just kidding, Mimosa. Oh no, anyone's going to die. Just kidding, Mimosa. Like, and that's, is it fine though? Is it fun? I think the best way to avoid disappointment, at least in my book, right? Don't put them in that scenario. Like, don't do it unless you're going to commit to it. Because now, like, from this point onward, I'm just going to look at every situation that's bad and the tension is going to just go. Because and I think here's the thing. That's the biggest issue I have with this arc. It kills all tension. Like, no matter what, in my heart of hearts, like, I feel it at the bottom. Like, if no one died here, in situations that would have been perfect for them to perish, no one's ever going to die. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I know Tabata's going to... It's the Horikoshi problem all over again. For people who don't know what I'm talking about, Horikoshi has this thing that he does, which I hate. And like, notably, I don't like when any mangaka does it. But considering I review My Hero Academia weekly, it's my longest running review series, obviously I notice a lot of its narrative. I have a lot more narrative issues with it just because I've been reading it, talking about it, and discussing it, and analyzing it for so long. But Horikoshi has this very big problem that I have where he will set up stakes. He will set up stakes and then not deliver on them, right? He will cook this fine, juicy meal, right? He'll come to you. He'll ask you your order. You'll put in an order for his finest filet mignon. He'll go back into the kitchen, whip that up beautifully, all the right spices, all the right seasoning, the right amount of cook. Once you cut into that beautiful filet mignon, you will see the beauty within it. But then the moment you go to lift your fork and knife to take a bite of that beautiful meal right there, he'll snatch it away, throw it across the room, laugh at your face, and then walk away. And that's what it feels like here, right? Like, it feels like okay, let me not just leave it at that again, because that's bad. That sounds like the mangaka are intentionally being mean. But no, they'll set up a rug, and then they'll yank it out from under you. And usually that's a good thing, right? Like, you want setup and you want that follow-up, but the follow-up is never good. It's like, you know those tricks where people will, like, put stuff on a table and then pull the tablecloth, and then everything on the table will stay there? It's essentially like that. Set up fake stakes, and then don't pay them off. It's that. And I don't know, personally, this is just a me thing. I'm not sure about any other I try to say Black Clover and slander at the same time, but any Black Clover critiquers out there, but the like button is free. And also the subscribe button. I know I shouldn't be saying that when I'm currently critiquing the series, but still, the thing is, my issue here is that Tabata set up really, really, really good narrative stakes, narrative heft. He brought in the Demon King, obviously one of what, like 3 or 4, but still, that's pretty serious. Up to this point, outside of the dwarves in Yami's homeland, this is the highest thing that we could hypothetically have so far. Is it not Endgame? Very clearly, obviously not. I hope it isn't. But still, in that same vein of being so powerful, was brought in. This guy was hyped up that if he even began to manifest, the world would be destroyed. If he got here, the world was finished. Is the world finished in any way, shape, or form? No. The Demon King, one of the biggest bads that's tied into our main characters, did nothing in the long run except make our main characters stronger. We had a whole rivaling kingdom that had this whole counter-political monarchy that ended up being destroyed and taken down that Yuno was tied into and all that. And what came of that? I mean, Yuno has his kingdom back, and all these are gratis, unless there's the secret 4th one. Who knows? Ooh, the secret 4th one. They're all dead, and nothing came of theirs except for some cool fights, which is fine. Once again, there was this build-up for possibility, and it's just gone. And obviously, all the setups for death, like, I don't. And here's the thing, right? If someone could, I know I'm asking for a lot, but if someone could y'all link me the thing where it was said that Asta was supposed to die, or like Julia said Asta was supposed to die? Because now I just don't see it. I don't know. It feels like there were so many potential ways you could have taken this and made it feel impactful, but Tabata just went for the most plain, simple, like, just natural ending. Or not even, no, it just feels, it's an unnatural ending. That's why I said, like, this whole chapter just feels weird. And I can't put my finger on it. I think it's just because of the lack of payoff to all the setup. But I guess all the setup is technically paid off. It's just that it wasn't paid off in a way that feels like narratively satisfying. Like, I don't feel satisfied after reading this narrative. I'm just like, okay, it happened. And I know it's better than nothing happened, but really, in the end, nothing happened. Nothing negative happened, I guess. I guess that's my thing, right? Usually, even if you have, like, a Disney ending to an arc, like, there have been multiple Disney endings to arcs before. And by Disney, I mean, like, clean, safe, whatever. But, like, heck, even in your Disney stories, Mufasa died. Bambi's mom died. Like, people die. Like, at least that happened, right? And people that we would care about, people that we would... And no, death isn't the thing. Simply put, because I feel like I'm talking myself into circles, the main reason I'm annoyed, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed, is because it feels like nothing was lost and everything was gained in this arc. And I know it's not an arc that is technically supposed to have supermassive stakes, but it felt like there wasn't clearly, it felt like that wasn't clearly established to the point where it makes sense that only positives would come from this. Because after this, there's not a single negative thing that came out of this. Nothing. Other than Melly being spawned, every other thing is dead and sent back to the underworld. There's nothing left. We just have to move on to different things. And it feels so weird. However, those are my thoughts. Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure that little notification will so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Zach with a pencil, writing off.